Hi, I'm Bryce Crittenden.
Hi, I'm Caroline Land, and welcome back to EPL's Overdue Finds.
Caroline, how's it going today? How are you?
I'm doing really well, Bryce. How are you?
Really good. I've been looking forward to this episode here for a little while now. When we plan out our episodes, this is one that came up. Of course, you saw from the episode description, we're doing some more kids pop culture confessions. And so we did one of these a couple of years ago, and we interviewed staff members, kids, and had them come in and kind of give us their hot takes on pop culture, what's cool, what isn't. And today we're so excited to be bringing you another couple set of interviews from some staff members. Their kids came on the show with us. And really, Caroline, this is kind of like our Steve Buscemi meme episode, isn't it?
It is. I refer to that all the time. I was so looking forward to talking with them, finding out what kinds of things they like, what similarities there are with us, what's kind of stood the test of time, and just getting their perspective on things.
Yeah, it's great. It's funny because you, Caroline, as a branch manager, you interact with kids probably on a fairly regular basis. Somebody who works from home still, I don't have any kids. I have no connection with any kids at all. So I have no idea what the kids are into these days. And so these episodes are always so fun to find out what they're enjoying, I guess, and stuff that they're really looking forward to. But we've got 3 guests. We've got 2 separate interviews, 3 guests in total joining us today. Do you want to kind of preview who we're chatting with?
First up, we have Corbin and Lux, who are brother and sister. And I liked this interview because you got to see a little bit of that sibling dynamic come out during the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Lux is really funny because there's an answer that she's like kind of almost embarrassed to say, but when she gets it out, she thinks it's like the most funny thing in the world. So they were both amazing guests. And who else are we chatting with?
Then we'll be chatting with William, who is 13, going into grade 8 and ready to tell us all about his favorite things.
These were fun interviews to do. Caroline, I think we need to do more of these episodes on a regular basis. So in the meantime, we hope you enjoy these 2 interviews. All right, Caroline, as we teased at the beginning of the show, we're back doing our kids pop culture confessions. And today we have a couple of guests joining us. I'm going to actually let them introduce themselves. So Corbin, I'm going to start with you. Can you let everybody know how old you are? And is there anybody you want to say hi to?
No, I don't really want to say hi to anyone. And I am 8 years old.
8, nice. And we're also joined by your sister Lux. Lux, how old are you? And is there anybody at all, friends, family, that you might want to say hi to?
I don't really want to say hi to anybody, but I am 6 years old.
6? That's a good age. Was it recently your birthday? Did you just turn 6?
No.
So part of our podcast, I'm sure you guys listen all the time. It's called Overdue Finds. On every episode, we always ask our guests if there's something like a movie or maybe a book or a video game or even music that they've been enjoying lately. So Corbin, I'm going to start with you. Is there like a movie or book or video game that you can really recommend to listeners?
Well, I played this game called Roblox on my iPad. It's fun because there's like a million games on it. Like you go in and you could play separate games in it.
And Lux, how about you? Do you have any like books or movies or games that you can recommend that you think people should check out?
My favorite game is Mario Kart because you get to choose your avatar of everybody in Mario, and you get to race, and usually my brother wins against me.
So I have to ask, because I also really enjoy playing Mario Kart, which character do you like to use?
I like to use Bowser Jr.
Oh, okay.
I like to use Princess Peach.
And do you, which system do you play that on? Is that on the Switch?
Yeah.
And do you like using like the cars or do you like using the motorcycles in Mario?
Motorcycle.
Well, I like the cars because I sometimes use motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
I use both of them at a certain time.
Yeah.
Strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite, like when you drive over the question marks, you'll get like kind of like a weapon to use. What's your favorite weapon?
Probably like the infinity symbol because it gives you every weapon that you can possibly use.
Yeah, that's my favorite too.
Nice.
I've never got it before though.
I've got it like 2 or 3 times.
You get the better weapons when you're in like lower, like in last place or stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, we need you to catch up. Here's everything. Have at it.
We wanted to know, what are some of your favorite things to do in the summer?
Well, I really like going outside and playing with my neighbors, and I like sometimes like playing soccer and stuff, and going in pools. Definitely pools.
Pools.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you like swimming or do you like kind of like splashing and playing?
Swimming.
Swimming.
I like jumping off diving boards especially.
Is there like a really high board you go off or is it just kind of like a normal one?
I like higher boards.
Yeah.
Because they're funner.
Lux, how about you?
In the summer, I like to play with my best friend. Her name is Phoenix, and I also like going to pools. No, I know how to swim.
That's good because I actually think Bryce does not.
That's right. I don't know how to swim. So I'd be in trouble and I'm not jumping off any diving boards at all. Unless I'd have like maybe one of those like inflatable like tubes around me, maybe. That's the only way I'd do it. So we talked a little bit before about you both like video games, but what about some books? Corbin, is there like a certain type of book that you really like to read?
I like graphic novels like the Garfield book or the Calvin and Hobbes book.
Nice. I same way when I was your age, I discovered Calvin and Hobbes and absolutely love that series. And same with Garfield as well. That's really neat to hear. I don't know of too many other kids who read Garfield. Do your friends read that too?
No, not really.
Besides Garfield, do you have a favorite like character?
I like Odie a lot.
He seems nice. He seems like he would be, kind of chill if he was your dog. Because you guys do have a dog, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about your dog?
Oh, well, our dog is really old.
And her name is Sadie.
How old is your dog?
17 years old.
Whoa, nice. What kind of dog is Sadie?
She's I'm pretty sure she's half Pomeranian, half
Terrier.
half Boston Terrier, I think. I don't know.
Lux, is there any types of books you really like to read?
My favorite book, I think, is Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia.
I love Amelia Bedelia. She can't get anything right.
It's funny. It's very funny.
It is. My absolute favorite is when she's told to dress the chicken and she puts it in a little suit because she thought that meant like get it dressed. I like that. And also when she has to draw the curtains and she gets out her art supplies.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we heard that you guys like The Simpsons.
Yes.
Bryce and I are both big fans of The Simpsons. We wanted to know, do you have a favorite character on The Simpsons? Who do you like?
I like Ralph.
Ralph.
That is an amazing answer.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of who mine might be. Ralph is an amazing answer.
Yes. Yeah. Lux, how about you? Who's your favorite character?
My favorite character is Maggie.
Maggie. Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty funny sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
one time, in this, when they look at this thing, Legoland, they look at Legoland, and everything's made out of Lego. Maggie is just jumps into her car seat, buckles up, and then she like jumps over.
Yeah, she starts driving the car.
Yeah.
I also like where but it's kind of violent, but Maggie shoots Mr. Burns.
That was a huge deal.
Yeah, when that originally aired, like I was a teenager, so it was like a long time ago. And when that aired, like we had to wait all summer to find out who shot Mr. Burns. So you see him get shot, and then we had to wait like 3 months, which is crazy. So yeah, I remember at the time I was like, oh, it was probably Smithers, but that was the obvious answer. But yeah, that's a good one. Do you have any favorite episodes?
My favorite episode is probably the one where Maggie like starts driving the car to Legoland.
I'm gonna have to check that one out. I don't know if
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
I've seen most of them. I think I've seen that one a while ago, but do you watch them on like Disney Plus?
Yes, we've
Yeah.
only seen like 10 seasons, but that's so long.
Talked about books and we talked about video games. What about music? Is there any music you really like listening to or dancing to?
I like Beethoven.
Beethoven. Interesting. Do you play the piano yourself?
Kinda. I don't play that much on it though.
So you're really into classical music, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. That's good.
I don't like opera though.
Lux, how about you? Is there any music you like listening to?
I don't even remember any of the names of the songs I like.
Is there anything from like Disney movies or anything that you really like?
Hamilton.
Oh yeah. Do you guys listen to the music from Hamilton?
Well, we used to and a lot. My mom kept playing it on the speaker.
You got kind of tired of it?
It started getting annoying after a while.
Yep, it did.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So you have to switch to something new.
Yeah.
And Lux, you take dance lessons, right?
Yes.
What kind of dancing do you do?
Ballet.
How many have you just started taking ballet or have you been doing it for a couple of years?
I've been doing it for like 1 month.
Oh, okay.
I haven't started yet. Like I ended and I haven't started doing it again.
Oh, I see. You're taking a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked about most of the things, but Bryce and I love talking about movies. Have you guys seen any movies that you really liked?
Well, we just saw this movie called Jungle Cruise.
Oh, you guys, this is just came out.
Yeah,
So you are like right on the cutting edge of things. How was it?
It is very good.
Yeah, it's so good. I think that's my favorite movie.
I've heard good things about it and I really want to see it. The Rock can be pretty funny sometimes.
Yes.
Is he funny in that movie?
Oh, kind of it. His jokes, I don't really get the jokes he says.
No.
No.
And in the movie, no one laughs. No one's laughing.
I really want to tell you something, but I don't want to spoil it. Spoiler alert!
So we've played the spoiler alert.
Yeah.
What do you want to tell us, Lux?
Okay. I want to tell you that in the show there's this cat and it is so silly and it drinks
Drinks alcohol.
It drinks alcohol and then when it comes back up, it's drunk.
That sounds silly.
Yeah, it does. Did you go to the theater to watch that one or did you watch it at home?
We watched it.
We watched it at home.
Yeah, Caroline, that's a movie I've seen the ads for it a lot and it looks really fun. So here we go. We got a couple of reviews that it's really good. We need to check that out. All right, so we're almost done here. And we always like to end our interviews with something called quick roundtable questions. So these are just kind of like fun questions. So Lux, I'm actually going to start with you. If you could meet anyone in the world, anybody at all, who would it be?
I can't think of it. I can't think of one.
Maybe we could go back to her later?
Yeah, we'll go back to her. Corbin, how about you?
I'd probably meet like one of the I'd probably meet like Kobe Bryant or someone because I want to get some tips on basketball.
Yes. Yeah. Do you have a favorite basketball team? Are you like a Raptors fan?
I don't really know.
No, just like basketball in general?
Yeah, I just like playing it.
Lux, is there anybody at all? Even like maybe somebody who's not even real, like maybe a character or anything like that.
Maybe the cat who drank alcohol.
Yes. I wish I could go into the movie and actually see that happen.
It'd be pretty funny to see in real life.
Yeah.
All right, our last question, and then we'll let you go back to enjoying your summer. Let's say you could go anywhere at all in the world on summer vacation. Anywhere at all. Where would you go? Corbin, we'll start with you.
Well, I just want to really see China, what it's like, because I've never been there before.
That'd be pretty neat. So you'd have to go check out like the Great Wall of China.
Yes. I'd have to fly airplane over the Great Wall of China.
Lux, how about you?
I would want to go to Disney World, and we might actually be going to Disney World next year.
Oh,
Whoa.
Disneyland. It's Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Wow, I
Exclusive
feel like
scoop here.
I feel like this is like news that we're breaking. That would be really fun. I went to
Mhm.
Disney World when I was about your age, but I've never been to Disneyland. I think that would be cool.
Disneyland would be so cool.
Would there be like a specific Disney character that you'd be really excited about meeting and you'd want to get your picture taken with?
Mickey Mouse, I think.
Classic. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to get my picture taken by Chewbacca.
Chewbacca, oh.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, that new Star Wars land looks really cool, right?
I like Chewbacca. Now that we're on the topic, I like the baby Yoda. The little
Yes,
one.
Baby Yoda is cute.
Oh yes, I want to take a picture with Baby Yoda.
So thank you so much, Corbin and Lux, for sharing your time with us today. And it's always good to hear what kids are really into these days. And before we go, is there anybody, I asked at the beginning and you didn't really have anyone. Are you sure? Is there any family or friends you want to say hi to?
My friend Benin.
I don't really have anybody.
That's okay.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for talking with us today.
Yeah, this was really fun. And we hope you enjoy listening to this later. All right, Caroline, we are here right now with our second guest, or I guess really technically third guest, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes, on this special episode of Overdue Finds. And joining us today is William. William, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Nice. So, William, first of all, I guess for the listeners, how old are you? And is there anybody you want to say hi to before we get going?
Turned 13 years old in March this year.
Nice.
Don't really think there's anyone I want to call out for this.
Oh, good. This is an ongoing theme, Caroline.
Yeah.
When we typically do when we do some of these episodes, a lot of times we'll ask everybody, like, is there someone you want to say hi to? Most of the times it's like, nah, I'm good. So you're par for the course. Everything is good so far. William, I have to ask you, actually, I have a brother also named William. Do you go by just William or do you go by Will? My brother goes by Bill for some strange reason. So how about you?
I really don't care. Like sometimes people call me Will, mostly Will, I think, just because it's shorter and easier to say. But I really don't care.
Nice.
As long as it's not Bill.
Take that, Bill Crittenden.
That's right. Will, I have to ask you, we ask this of all of our guests here on Overdue Finds. Is there, it's like our Overdue Finds pick. Do you have a recent book, movie, or maybe a game or album that you can recommend for listeners that you think they should check out?
Well, there's a TV show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that I've been watching a lot over the last few months. I recommend it to a lot of people watching, as long as they're old enough to get the jokes. And there's a new season coming out, so it's a good time to start watching it if you don't.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the last season too.
Yeah, the last season.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite character on the show?
I think my favorite character is probably Captain Holt.
Yeah, Caroline, we're also big fans of Captain Holt, right?
Oh, we are. He is one of my management icon goal people. There's a word for that. Role model is the word.
Role model, yeah.
Yeah, that's the word I was trying to think of.
You roll into work and you're like, what would Captain Holt do in this situation?
Yeah, try to channel him.
So, of course, we're in the summer. Caroline and I, we're past the stage, obviously, of getting to have fun summer holidays and everything. We got like a week here and there, but that's really it. So what do you recommend? What do you enjoy doing over the summer?
One of my friends moved into the neighborhood just this summer, so we've been spending a lot of time skating around the neighborhood, going to each other's houses. Played a lot of road hockey.
Nice. I have to ask, because I'm also, growing up, I loved playing road hockey. What's your ball of choice? Do you use like the hard orange ball, or do you use like a tennis ball, or is there something else?
We mostly use like the hard orange balls. Sometimes
Okay.
we play with those pucks that have like the bumps on the top, so they stay on the concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was growing up, we played a lot of times with tennis balls. I think just because they were cheaper, and if you lost them, they were a lot easy to replace. And plus, tennis balls didn't quite hurt as much when you got hit with them, as opposed to those hard orange balls.
I wanted to ask you about books. Are there any books, types of books, genres, formats that you really enjoy reading?
My favorite books are mostly nonfiction, like history books and historical nonfiction. We read a lot of Alan Gratz and I Survived kind of stuff. And then I pretty much read every edition of the National Geographic History magazine.
Oh.
Wow. Nice.
I like reading about history, so I should probably check that out.
So you mentioned, obviously, that you're a fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yep.
Are there any other shows that you like watching? Have you, besides Brooklyn Nine-Nine, is there anything else maybe you've binged lately?
Well, my favorite types of shows are pretty similar, actually made by the same kind of two producers, Michael Schur. Shows like Modern Family, Parks and Rec, Arrested Development, and The Office, or some other ones I binge a lot.
Nice. You can't go wrong with pretty much any of those shows. Yeah, we've talked about The Office a few times here on the podcast. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. And Caroline, we don't talk about Parks and Recreation enough, because the way they handle the library on that show is actually really funny.
It was when it first came out, I remember in library circles there was a lot of like love for the way that Leslie Knope hates the library.
Well, they portray the libraries as the antagonists for a lot of it.
Yeah. I don't know. In real life, we love the Parks Department, and I'm happy to work with different parts of the city. I just wanted to loop back to The Office and say that Michael Scott, not one of my management role models, but I do, in the show, he refers to this kind of goal he has about writing a book called Somehow I Manage. And I'll admit that I've wanted to read that book in real life.
I feel like it wouldn't be the best book to read if you're trying to become a manager.
No. No, probably not.
With The Office, it can get really there's a ton of cringe in that show, especially the Scott's Tots episode. Are you a fan kind of that cringe type comedy?
Yeah, sometimes it's a little hard to watch, but it's really funny.
Yeah, that's interesting, because the episode, the dinner party episode, is my favorite in the entire series, but I cannot watch Scott's Tots.
My favorite episodes are the ones in season 2, like the injury and safety training. I guess that's later in the series, but those ones where Michael's just acting absolutely ridiculous are the funniest ones, in my opinion.
Is that the one where he burns his foot on his George Foreman grill?
Yeah. Comes into work screaming and demanding everyone cater to him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like peak Michael Scott. He thinks the whole world should revolve around him and everybody should come to his aid.
Bryce and I have talked on the podcast before about how neither of us really knows much about current music. And so we were wondering what kind of music you listen to and if there's anyone you can introduce us to.
I don't think that's gonna work then, because my favorite kind of music is the older classic, like hard rock back from the 70s and 80s.
You're singing Bryce's song here.
I think we just became best friends, maybe, because that's the type of music I love listening to as well. Do you have any favorite bands that you really like from that era?
Well, some of my favorites are Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi. Recently, I've gotten really into the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all three of those bands. I've actually seen all three of those bands in live in concert. Although when I saw Guns N' Roses, it wasn't really Guns N' Roses. It was like Axl Rose, and pretty much that was it from the band. But yeah, like if you kind of keep going back a little bit more into like the 70s, there's lots of other bands. You should check out like Boston is really good. Fleetwood Mac is another good one too. So yeah, Caroline, I love hearing that today's kids love the classic rock. Apparently, that's awesome.
How did you kind of first hear this kind of music?
I feel like it might be because I play hockey, like in the dressing room before the games when they bring the speaker. That's the kind of music they play. That's also the music that my parents listen to. So
I've talked about this too on the show. Like growing up, my parents listened to a lot of stuff like Fleetwood Mac or Phil Collins, in the car when we were driving around somewhere. So yeah, you pick up that music and it kind of sticks with you. So yeah, I love thinking that your hockey team's getting ready to play and you guys are listening to some Red Hot Chili Peppers to pump yourselves up. That's awesome. We talked about TV and stuff like that. So what kind of movies do you like? Is there a certain type of genre you like watching? And is there anything really good that you've watched lately?
Well, my taste in movies is pretty similar to my taste in TV shows. So a lot of kind of goofy comedies that aren't like that serious. Also like just vintage movies like Ghostbusters and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. My favorite comedy movies are probably Happy Gilmore, Anchorman, and a few other ones.
Nice. Will, we already have a ton of similarities, lots in common because those are some of my favorite movies as well. What about stuff like Back to the Future? Are you a fan of Back to the Future?
Yeah, I think it's a great. I'm not as big a fan of the second movie as the first and third.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I really like the first two. The third one for me is the one where I'm like, yeah, it's okay. It's a fun way to wrap up the series, but it's probably my least favorite in the series though. So, is there any like newer movies that you've discovered that you really like?
Obviously, a fan of the MCU. Those movies are obviously all over the place. New movies, I don't watch a lot of super new movies, but I guess you could say that for most of the things I'm into.
That's okay. I mean, hey, the classics are always good, like Ferris Bueller, like you said, Ghostbusters. Are you looking forward to the new Ghostbusters movie that comes out later this year?
Well, it was filmed in Alberta, so I'm interested to watch it. My uncle actually got in as like an extra in the movie.
Neat.
Nice. Yeah. So you'll definitely have to go and watch for him and pay very close attention to that.
One question here that I would not have liked if I was being interviewed. Are you looking forward to starting back at school?
I mean, we're probably going to have masks, but like as long as we're not going to be in the cohorts again and that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to starting it again.
Mm-hmm. And you're going into grade
8.
Grade 8. Okay.
So last year, or was it the year before, were you doing kind of like the homeschooling thing like for most of the year, or were you in like actually like back in school for a little bit?
Well, each quarter I opted to do, like last year, quarter I opted to do the in-person learning, but in May and November that we had to go on, May and December, sorry, we had to go online for the month.
Nice. So we're about to wrap up here, Will.
Yeah.
So whenever we wrap up our episodes, we do something called quick roundtable questions. So these are just kind of fun, quick answer ones. I'm curious to know, if you could meet anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
I think I'd probably say, just off the spot, Leon Draisaitl. He's my favorite athlete. I feel like it would be
Okay.
pretty cool to meet him and learn like some tips from him about hockey and
Yeah.
how to get better and stuff.
That's actually, it's funny, Caroline. We've had kind of a whole wide range of answers on this one. This one's probably the most realistic answer because Leon Draisaitl like lives here in Edmonton. So, some of the other ones we've had have been, athletes who live maybe in the US or other places in the world. So, hey, that's something you could be going out shopping and you could totally run into Leon. So that's like actually realistic. I have to ask though too, you mentioned playing hockey. Which position do you play?
I play center like pretty much all the time. I occasionally get put on left wing, but pretty much forward only.
Let's say that you could go away anywhere for summer vacation. Where would you like to go?
If I could go anywhere in the world, I'd probably have to choose either Nepal or Bhutan, one of those countries in the Himalayas. They got some really like fascinating cultures there, and like some great natural beauty. It would be I think it would be really cool to visit there and just like immerse myself in the culture.
Sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Will, we've had a blast talking to you today, and I'm so happy to hear that people under the age of 40 are still enjoying classic rock and movies like Ferris Bueller. So that's that just made my day. So before we wrap up, we'll give you one last chance. Anybody you want to say hi to before we wrap up here?
No.
You're good.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Caroline, that was a blast.
I
love
had so
doing
much
those.
fun. I had so much fun doing these interviews. I love listening to their answers, getting surprised by them. And I wanted to put this to you, Bryce. Is there anyone that you want to say hi to?
Definitely my wife, Cheryl. She gets brought up quite a few times on the podcast. So I would definitely want to say hi to her. And how about you?
Cheryl as well. Hi. How are you? But it was funny because the kids this time, I think last time there was they would list off a few people or relatives or this. The kids this time are just like, no, let's just get to it.
They're all business. They're like, we're here to talk about our picks, and that's really about it. So but the one thing I was impressed with was that we had some very mature answers for some of our questions. So obviously we had Corbin, who's really into Beethoven, I think it was. And my new best friend, Will, we like the same stuff. Like, he likes hockey. He's into classic rock from the 70s and 80s. And that was really fun getting to chat with all three of them.
Yeah, I thought you did a really good job of not reacting when he called really old movies like Ghostbusters. That was good. It's good to have these moments to keep us in check. But yeah, lots of stuff that has stayed. We had that conversation about The Simpsons with Corbin and Lux. That was one of the things that they had shared in advance, that they were really into that show. And it's like, well, Bryce and I have seen a few episodes ourselves.
Just a few. So no, that was really fun. We hope obviously everybody enjoyed those. And I think Caroline we'll need to schedule more of these episodes going forward.
Definitely. So again, we want to thank Corbin, Lux, William, and their parents for helping us to do these interviews. Before we wrap up today, can you let everyone know who we'll be chatting with on our next episode, which will be available on Friday, September 10th?
Caroline, this next episode is going to be a big one. Not that this episode wasn't. This episode was also a big one, but we're going to be chatting with the best-selling author of The Age of Persuasion and the host of the podcast, Under the Influence, Mr. Terry O'Reilly. So yeah, if you don't know, Terry is actually our next presenter in the Forward Thinking Speaker Series. And his presentation is going to be on September 29th. We're going to be talking to him all about his career and his presentation with us, which is called Customer Service is Marketing. I love, Caroline, we've talked about this. We love doing these episodes where we get to speak with these Forward Thinking Speaker Series presenters. And if you're interested in hearing Terry's presentation, tickets are on sale right now for his event. They're only $10, and they're available on epl.ca/speaker series. Caroline, I think you're just as excited as I am to be chatting with Mr. O'Reilly next episode.
I can't wait. I love his podcast. I said before, you listen, you learn, you hear all these things that you can just drop into conversation that makes you feel smarter, impress other people, and getting his perspective as a marketer, as a podcaster, I think it'll be a great conversation.
Yeah, I feel a little intimidated. I'm not going to lie, but his podcast is downloaded millions of times, so I think hopefully we'll probably learn a thing or two.
We always do. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you automatically get new episodes. Please also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We love getting reviews. And if you like what you hear, please tell a friend about the show.
Yeah, and don't forget that we'll have a link to everything that we talked about in today's show notes. We had, of course, some great picks from our young guests today. And if you want to share your thoughts on this episode, email us at podcast@epl.ca or hit us up on Twitter by using the hashtag EPL Overdue Finds.